Hello and welcome to the Property Damage podcast series focusing on the issue of flooding. I'm Elizabeth McCulloch, an Associate Solicitor here at BLM, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jaymie Kavanagh, also a Solicitor at BLM.
Hello, thanks Elizabeth.
So today's episode is slightly different than previous episodes, as Jaymie and I will be discussing the outcome of market research that was conducted with a leading brokerage firm that will focus on the issues that customers are facing during the policy renewal process, specifically relating to flooding, which includes increased premiums. We'll also be looking at the importance of customers implementing property flood resilience measures and how customers can ensure they are protected from the effects of flooding and put themselves in the best possible position with insurers during the renewal process. So just to give our listeners some context into today's episode, it's worth noting some key information and statistics surrounding flood risk. DEFRA highlighted in 2020 that insurance markets, businesses and individuals needed to move away from the idea of flood risk management and navigate towards a model of flood resilience. The insurance sector being the first port of call when a household or business suffers the effects of flooding, government agencies are encouraging the introduction of a more holistic approach to flood resilience. This is part of a wider strategy to improve attitudes and ensure the bounce back ability for businesses and insurers during a flood event. The uptake, however, on this has been fairly inconsistent, and it's largely due to the escalating cost of cover, some premiums increasing by up to 100% on renewal. In a hardening market, it is important now more than ever to open the dialogue around flooding and policy renewals between insurers, brokers and customers. So without further ado, let's get started. So Jaymie, we asked our broker contact how important flood resilience measures were for a broker and a customer when renewing a policy in 2021 and beyond. And we asked whether this is something that is being increasingly focused on as part of the renewal process. What was their response to this?
Okay, so the feedback we received was that the market is hardening and it has been for some time. This is largely due to the pandemic. The hardening of the market is directly impacting the renewals process around risk management, which includes flood resilience. They indicated that during a policy renewal, insurers generally want a good level of detail around existing flood resilience measures that a customer has in place and what their proposals were in the future. Insurers are now using their own databases to assess flood risk, and the use of and understanding of flood plans and flood risk areas is a key conversation that brokers are now having with customers in good time prior to a renewal, in the knowledge that this is a key area of interest for insurers. The market research has highlighted that there is some nervousness around the extent of cover and increasing premiums and rates, so brokers are increasing dialogue with their customers to hone in on flood resilience measures being key.
And so based on the broker's input, what are the insurer's expectations of a customer when renewing a policy or taking out a policy in respect of the present or installation of a flood resilience measure?
Well, brokers are understandably seeing increasing insurer requirements around the customer showing and evidencing investment in flood resilience and a working plan and risk assessment around this. If a customer is in a flood area, there are government investments made, but customers still need to invest in bespoke products for their needs and brokers. Understandably, customers haven't got an infinite pot of money, so the key for brokers is finding that middle ground. They indicated that they are assisting customers with flood plans to help customers make better decisions on flood resilience measures and are bringing everyone to the table, including insurers, brokers, and the customer, to put a plan in place together. Suitable planning and proactivity are key. Until there has been a flood, you don't know what will work. Brokers are trying to stay ahead of the curve by bringing in the right experience, the right people in to ensure the risks are catered for and insurers are happy with the proposed measures.
So did our contacts see an increase in premiums at renewal stage? And did they suggest what the reasons might be for this?
Okay, so premium increases have hiked in some circumstances by around 200%. And brokers say that this isn't all due to flooding. The market has hardened since COVID after a relatively long soft cycle of around 5 to 7 years. The reinsurance costs are being impacted across all markets, including flood resilience, and they say that when they are starting the renewal process, they are starting with this area due to the increase of flooding events, which is also propounded by global warming. Brokers are encouraging a full assessment of all properties on a customer's books that are prone to flooding risks and are looking at mapping out an assessment, measures, and future proofing. Risk alerts for floods are given to customers by a number of brokers, which is also a great use of technology in the insurance and risk sector.
And so what can insurers do to ensure premiums are kept as reasonable as possible for customers at the renewal stage?
So, the feeling amongst brokers is that insurers need to understand the risk. Too many insurers will look at a spreadsheet in a flood zone, then add a premium. There may not have been any floods in that area in the last 50 years, so the premium may not be reflecting the realities. There needs to be time given to understanding the risks. Brokers are saying there should be a better understanding of what a customer is doing to help manage the flood risk to make better decisions on premiums. The message brokers are giving to customers is to invest in flood resilience so you can save on a large premium. Data is a priority. Before renewal, brokers will discuss trends and problems with customers, particularly where there are properties that will be in a flood zone, to show insurers that solutions to mitigate the risks are suitable and achievable. This goes a long way with an insurer when calculating a premium, with one broker indicating that the measures saved the customer up to £1 million on a premium after flood resilience measures were installed by a customer. The biggest message from our contact for their customers was to not treat the insurer as the enemy, work with the insurer, understand the insurer wants bargaining and discussion points. There are risk management funds from government, so brokers are encouraging customers to get familiar with this and consider input from a risk manager. A risk manager was deemed to be a key figure in flood risk management, and the indication was that this is more crucial to have this now than ever due to the hardening of the market.
And so to summarise, what three pieces of advice would our contact give to their customers and insurers relating to the provision of flood risk and resilience measures during the renewal period?
Okay, so the biggest points that the broker raised was first is to have open dialogue. Second is a commitment to building a relationship between insurer and customer with the help of a broker. A customer shouldn't be put off by what the insurer is saying, as it is in both the insurer and the customer's interest to retain the value in the property. Not having flood resilience measures is a cause for a premium hikes, so discuss this between each other. And the third is making inroads towards establishing a long-standing relationship. It was interesting, our broker contact indicated that customers changing insurers frequently to avoid investing in flood resilience was only increasing the overall cost of the customer in the long term. Unfortunately, due to COVID, customers are testing the market looking for the cheapest premium, but brokers say this is to the detriment of the customer. If you can build a relationship with an insurer, you can develop that trust as they are looking after your asset and to provide support to you.
Absolutely. And so, as we look to the future, attitudes surrounding flood risk from an insurer, broker, and customer perspective are evolving. Innovation in technology, building strategies, products, and development mean that flood resilience is likely to be an integral part of tackling both the monetary and human costs of a flooding event, particularly with the effects of climate change being felt more now than ever. Whilst it's tempting for customers to shop around for the lowest premium, brokers are finding that establishing a long-standing relationship with a broker and an insurance provider will be a more beneficial strategy overall. Communication and open dialogue between the insurer customer and broker on flood risk management are key. And what is clear is that this is an ongoing dialogue between all parties, not just one for the renewal stage. When there is a hardening insurance market and increased flood incidences, proactivity is key in terms of who a customer has on their team managing risks, what measures are implemented to mitigate the effects of a flooding risk, and what support an insurer can offer on this front to protect the value of the customer's assets. It's a collaborative effort that will help in the long run. Thank you to our broker contact who assist us in the market research. I'm sure our listeners will have found their contribution extremely valuable. There have been some really insightful episodes in the series, and we would love to hear your observations and have your comments on the content of this podcast. So please do send them through to us at propertydamage@blmlaw.com. That's propertydamage@blmlaw.com. Thank you all for listening to today's episode. Take care for now.